Hi, I'm Michael Janich. I'm the founder and lead instructor of Martial Blade Concepts and Counterblade Concepts, and I've been teaching the martial arts and self-defense for more than 30 years. In my opinion, if you're serious about self-defense, you need to be carrying some type of a weapon on a daily basis. Let's face it, if you're attacked in today's world, the odds are pretty good that your attacker is going to be armed in some way. Even if he's not, he's attacking you or trying to attack you because he feels he has some kind of advantage over you. He may be bigger, he may be stronger, he may have friends with him, which means you're facing a multiple attacker situation. And in any one of those circumstances, having a weapon could make all the difference. Having the skill to use it, even more so. And more often, I find myself in non-permissive environments. Any kind of a situation where it's a controlled environment and the rules basically say I can't carry any kind of a purpose-designed weapon. And after lots of thought, after lots of reflection and years of training, one of my favorite weapons is a tactical pen. A tactical pen is nothing more than a very high-quality pen that provides all the same functionality and all the same attributes as a purpose-designed fist-load weapon. That's the major advantage of the tactical pen. I can literally carry this anywhere. I've carried Tough Rider tactical pens in and out of dozens of different countries. I've traveled for years with these things and I've never had a problem. But the operative term in the word tactical pen is tactic. What that means is you need to have the skill to wield this thing effectively. The pen's not going to fight for you. Developing that skill is what this video is all about. Now you also need to think about what you're really trying to achieve. The ultimate goal in all self-defense is stopping power. Now shooters are familiar with this term. They know that stopping power is basically the odds of you being able to decisively stop your attacker so he can't target you. The same thing applies in all real self-defense. I want to be able to stop my attacker so that I can create the opportunity for a safe escape. The first grip we're going to look at is what's called a reverse grip. And it's called a reverse grip because the pen is going to be extending from the pinky side of the hand. To achieve this grip, what you're going to do is you're going to basically lay the pen across the base of your fingers, across your palm this way. Close your fingers tightly around the pen, and then you're going to cap it with your thumb. What I like to do is actually leave a little bit of space here, about 1 finger's worth above my index finger between that and the thumb. What this does is creates lots of surface area on the pen, gives you a very solid grip, and the thumb becomes that insurance that the pen is not going to slide when you make impact. Now when it comes to being able to draw the pen, what we're going to look at is first indexing the pen with our hand. So we want to find the pen first. What you're going to do is you're going to use the last 3 fingers of your hand to basically index against the base of the pen, the striking end. So once you hit that, what's going to happen is the handle end is going to pop out. It's going to pop away from your chest a little bit, and that gives you room to get your thumb underneath the handle. Once you've got the thumb hooked underneath, now what you can do is achieve a pinch grip between your thumb and the base of your index finger. That gives you the grip you need to be able to draw the pen from there. The first basic skill we're going to look at as far as actually being able to fight with the tactical pen is what's called cycling. This is a term that I borrowed from my friend Kelly McCann. Kelly is hands down one of the best trainers in the business. If you ever have a chance to train with him, by all means take advantage of it. I love to give credit where credit is due, so again, giving credit to Kelly, that's where this came from. What cycling basically is the idea of this downward hammer fist strike. So what you're doing is basically balling your fist up like this, striking downward with a natural motion as if you were hammering a nail or if you were just doing kind of a caveman downward strike. You add the tactical pen to that, and what you've got is this natural strike coming down like this. Again, very instinctive, very easy to learn. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to return the favor, and I'm going to do that with our basic cycling motion. So I've parried his hand, I come at him, he does the same thing. He parries that down. He comes back at me, I parry, and what you notice is my strike is his opportunity to be able to defend, and vice versa. So I learn to defend, attack, defend, attack, defend, attack. He's doing the same thing, and what we've got is a very nice dynamic. Excellent. So again, step by step, he strikes, bang, parrying this across, bringing this down, cycling forward. Now as I go to cycle again, that retraction of the left hand wraps this around, a strike, strike, and again, I can finish with the low line kick. He goes to punch, bang, hand comes up into the head, turning the head, short-circuiting that punch, and look what I've done. I've just opened up a whole bunch of different targets here. I could certainly go to the collarbone, I can go to the base of the skull, I can go to the jaw, temple, got all kinds of stuff here. Again, I've got to make sure that I express my technique as far as striking in a way that's consistent with the nature of the attack and the level of the threat. And that's why I like the collarbones a lot. I can hit here and not necessarily go to the head, which in many cases is considered a vital target. We talked before about the idea of striking to the eyes. A tactical pen into the eye could easily go through the eye, through the orbital socket, and into the brain. anytime you're targeting something in that way, it could definitely be considered an application of lethal force, and you need to be justified in expressing your technique in that way. You have to articulate the threat that you face. As I push this down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to track up my center line, right up the middle of my body this way. I'm going to rotate this forward, and I'm going to strike out at him. He's going to do the same thing. These are the basic components. Again, when he strikes, I defend. When I strike, he defends. And you end up with a very easy reciprocal motion that, again, you can see you can build very quickly. Excellent. So he throws that backhand. Bang, there's my hit. You can see this is very quick right from here. As I see this coming in, I'm checking and immediately coming right over the top to strike here. This allows me to hit very, very quickly. When we take this and we amp it up with the tactical pen, what was a palm against the shoulder now becomes the fist. Left hand is doing the same thing. Now you need to go a little bit lighter on your partner because driving my fist into his deltoid sucks after a while. So you want to go light with your partner. Once you've validated it with your palm, know that it works, and then of course back off your force accordingly. What we look at here is he throws that punch. I'm stopping it here. Suck this in. We're right back into cycling. We've seen this before. You're saying, well, you know, that's not anything new. You're welcome. Now what I've got is I've turned his head. He can't punch with that arm. He also doesn't see this coming, so I've literally taken his vision away. So when I come in and hit with this, he's never going to see it. Notice I hit, came right back up. And notice also he's dancing around because of his balance being compromised, turning his head in this direction, locking that foot down. He's off balance. Hit here, maybe finish up with a knee. And you can just imagine what happens when I stand on this foot and I drive my knee full force to the inside of his thigh. So Vince strikes at me, I check, I hook, I pin, and now I'm going to return the favor. He checks, hooks, pins. So check, hook, pin, check, hook, pin. You notice that when we pin here, pinning with a natural grip, just like I was shaking hands with my left hand, pinning this way, not this way. With the elbow pointing off into space, I have no strength. Here I have lots of strength to drive this in. I can also start pulling him and moving him this way. So he strikes, check, hook, pin, and I can see from here, I've got all kinds of stuff to hit. Really, it just sets me up to be able to finish that fight either with the pen or by using the pen to create the opportunities then for low-line follow-up. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it's inspired you to actually get up and train with your tactical pen. Again, the operative part of the word tactical pen is tactic. The pen by itself doesn't do you any good without the skill to wield it effectively. You need to understand that, embrace that, and make that part of your training. You also need to think about taking the pen and all of your skills and putting them into context with everything else you've got. So you may think, hey, I carry a gun, I carry a knife, I carry pepper spray or whatever. I don't need a tactical pen. Again, think about today's world, think about all the realities of travel, think about non-permissive environments, and what you'll come to realize is that this is a tremendous asset when it comes to personal defense. Make it part of your personal defense arsenal, make it part of your skill set, train hard, and stay safe. Hi, I'm Michael Janich, and welcome to Volume 2 of the Focused Impact video series. The purpose of this series is basically to put the tactic in tactical pen. You need to have the skill to be able to wield your pen effectively. That's what it's all about. And again, what we're going to do is focus on the conceptual aspect of what we're trying to do. Just accumulating technique is not a good way to learn self-defense. Self-defense is a very dynamic problem, so you need to have a dynamic solution. The more conceptual understanding you have, the better you are at being able to combine your skills and improvise on the fly, the better off you're going to be in a real self-defense situation. Again, emphasize safety in everything you do. Make sure you train safely with your partner. Start off slow, develop your skills gradually. Let's get training. We've looked at this before. I'm walking down the street, I see he's got a knife. He thrusts at me. I hammer this down and I'm checking here, and now I go to strike. Whether I actually get those eye strikes or not, I don't know, but I've driven him back a little bit. At this point, this has done its job. I could just pitch it at him and transition from here and get to the gun. That's what's going to allow me to earn this draw. Yeah, this may be what I ultimately go to, but if I didn't have the pen, if I didn't have the skill to use it, and if I wasn't smart enough to put all those pieces together, I'd never have the opportunity to use this. Again, like all of our reciprocal drills, what this allows you to do is to create a training methodology that gives you lots of repetitions. Repetition is the mother of all skill, and this also gives us the ability to make this a scalable thing. So as we start to pick up speed a little bit, and we start to pick up intensity, you really start to challenge yourself to be able to do this well. We slow it down again, left, right, left, left, right, left. So when we look at Hubud, the ability to change this, be able to change the angle of his arm through that deflection, and then create the opportunity for me to strike. So in this case, it's very clear, very apparent that I've got a lethal force situation. Now another way to apply this still uses the same motions, but instead of immediately going to targets on the head, since this is my primary concern, I want to try to make sure that I can take this out of the fight. If you think of the tapered point of a tactical pen, nice hard aluminum, you think of the very sensitive back of Vince's hand, taking that and driving it into the back of his hand, you think that'll compromise his grip? Yeah. So let's see how that works. So he strikes, deflect with Hubud here, and now there's my strike. That really solves my problem quicker than anything else. Well, cycling still is perfectly valid, but what Hubud gives you, especially in very confined quarters, is the ability to start to use this wedging aspect of your arm. Let's say that I don't have any room to move, my back is against the wall, and Vince is striking at me. Even the idea of trying to pass this through and do any type of a cycling action, I may not have room to do it. But if I look at Hubud, you see that I can actually change the relationship as far as center line. I can actually really affect him very powerfully by using the strength of this arm. This is a good start. This is perfectly valid by itself, but getting this wedging action is also very worthwhile. It's very much worth your effort as far as your training. Left, right, left, right. Simply dropping that in. We can also do that in the sense of hitting here, hitting here, hitting here, and then overachieving with another follow-up hit. This teaches us a number of different things. Hitting with this end, turning the fist over and hitting with the other end, and expressing Hubud, not just against the arm, but also looking at it as a way of attacking other targets. Again, I don't want to be in a position to where I simply have this technique, this technique, this technique, and nothing to connect them. Because in a situation that develops dynamically, where I have to respond spontaneously, what I want is something that I can use to draw on reflex. One of my favorite things to do with this, though, this is here, I pull down, this comes up, you drop both hands in, you basically amplify that hit. So now what I'm doing is reinforcing this and really digging this deep into his sternum. But sooner or later, you need to be able to hit something. You need to be able to kind of quantify your skills. Well, one easy thing you could do is simply take the pen out of your hand, get a pair of Thai pads, get any other kind of martial arts training pad that you can use to hit, and practice your hammer fists striking that. So basically what Vince is going to do, he's going to hold this thing, make sure that it's clear, so if it rebounds, it's going to go past him here. I'm just going to get a feel for striking. So I've got my basic striking action here, then I look at index, strike, index, strike, index, strike, index, strike. But you look at the idea of index, strike. That striking allows me to get a feel for what it's actually like to hit with a pen, and I could do it against this target without damaging the pen. Very importantly, what it also allows me to do is get familiar with that impact transfer from the target back through the pen into my hand. And in many cases, this can be an epiphany because you start to realize, maybe I didn't choose a really good pen. There are some pens that their designs have so many angular surfaces, they're so pointy, they're so uncomfortable in your hand, that when you look at that hit, all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, that hurt. With a good pen, like a Tough Rider, what you've got is something that you can grip very tightly, very firmly in your hand. You're able to really hit with some power, and everything is comfortable. Just like managing the recoil from a firearm. Everything goes back into your hand, and there are no sharp edges, there are no points that are going to damage your hand, which is really important if you're looking at the pen as maybe this is a transition now to another weapon. What's the difference between this and all the stuff we've been doing as far as stand-up? Not a whole lot. So everything that I've done in a stand-up situation, if we rotate it 90 degrees and we look at it this way, I can apply all the same skills. So let's say, for example, he comes with a downward strike or whatever it is. I've got my Hubud that I can use now to still be able to strike, still be able to use the pen effectively. I can still make this work, provided I've got the pen in hand. But probably the most decisive thing you could do to solve this situation is to use the skill you already have. And it's not so much pen dependent, but it's a skill you developed in the context of learning how to use the pen. And that's Hubud. So we have that punch coming down, bang. Remember we did the trapping on the elbow. Well, if I hook and trap the elbow here, and I use that with a pull that goes off in that direction, now we're looking at the ability to really reverse this and roll him. So I don't have to worry about all the traditional umpa techniques and all that kind of stuff. I use the leverage afforded by that elbow. Now I look at tactical pin. Okay, there's a shot to the groin. There's a shot to that thigh. Notice that I'm just pinning this elbow so that he can't get back into play. I've got shots to the ankle here. I've literally got all kinds of targets that I can play with. And then I get up and move to safety. Big right hand comes, bang, there's my shoulder stop. I hook it here. This immediately tracks just a few inches over here to his throat. I push, pull, umpa at the same time, pinning this arm here, using him as a knee pad. Notice the elbow spiking into his chest. He's not liking that, so I'll give him a break on that. These knees come up here. And again, I've got all the striking I need right here, making sure that I finish this so that he's not getting up. You want to see somebody get off you quickly? Take a tough rider pen, take the pointy end, start stabbing them in the sternum. They're going to fly off of you. It's a very easy way to take the skills you already have, be able to apply it on the ground. Again, the commitment to developing skill is what's really going to keep you safe. You have to be serious about this. Simply carrying one of these things, owning one, having it with you is not enough. You need to have the skill to wield it effectively. Train hard and stay safe.